Max?
Hey Mike, thanks for doing this again. Obviously, the big trade yesterday with Ottawa. How quickly did that come together? What's the timeline on that deal, and how important was it to get a second top 10 pick?
Yeah, it came together fairly quickly. Eki wasn't someone I was looking to move or move on from. I think Stevie got put in a tough situation there in Ottawa, and I thought he did a great job of navigating it and doing the best he could in a difficult situation. And I think once that happened, he was looking for a good player to fill a top six role for his team. And we had some discussions, and it came together fairly quickly. So I think it's a good opportunity for Eki, and for us. It was a good opportunity for us to add another potentially another top 10 pick.
We talked yesterday about the defense and things like that. Is the ninth pick something you see as something more you want to use, or is that another one where you're maybe not shopping, but kind of maybe more aggressively looking to get some immediate help?
Yeah, I mean we'll be more than happy to pick there at 9 and get a really good player to add to our group. But if there's a player like you said that fits the age range and is a good player and we like and could potentially bring in to help us now, then we would we would look at it, and it definitely gives us a little bit of flexibility there.
I know we don't have as much time, so I'll probably circle back. Thanks, Mike.
Curtis.
Morning, Mike. Thanks again for doing this today. Did the Simon Nemec deal to Calgary have anything to do with this deal? That the Eklund deal came pretty closely after that. Did the two have anything to do with each other at all?
No, I had no idea about that deal.
Okay. There's also reports of your guys' interest in Bo Byram with Buffalo. Can you say how interested you guys were in a player like that?
Yeah, he's a player we liked. We had some interest in him, and had some conversations with Yarmo about him. Going back to, I mean, we had interest in him going back to last year, really. So yeah, we had some conversations, but obviously he got a really good deal there with Chicago, and made the best move for his organization.
How important is it for the Sharks to come away from this week, either through trades or free agency, with a defenseman like that? An offensive-minded defenseman, power play type quarterback. How important is it for you guys to come away from these next few days with someone like that?
I mean, that's an ideal world thing. I think it's not just this week, but we got a couple months to make our team better, and I will continue to look to do that. So we've been pretty clear about wanting to improve the back end, and we'll continue to look to do that.
How with there's obviously speculation with Eklund being traded that maybe you guys focus in more on Stenberg at number two. What do you like the most about Ivar? And obviously he played very well in the SHL and the World Championships. What stands out when you watch him play?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, you guys are all speculating. I got our draft meetings here in 20 minutes, so nothing's decided about our board, how we have them and how we lined up. There's, as far as Ivar goes, he's a competitive kid, sees the ice well, competes hard, dual threat, pretty comfortable playing against men already, and had a historic season. So he's a very talented player, and we got to keep digging in on him for the next few days and see where it goes. And it's like I said, it's all speculation on your part. You're 6'3" right shot D who can skate and create offense. Don't grow on trees either. So we still have some work to do over the next 2.5 days to sort our board out.
Okay, thank you, Mike.
Steve?
Mike, you just mentioned it. At the top of the draft seems like it's deep, but not like a set order. Does that make getting another high pick even more intriguing, knowing that the players who could be available there for you for a second pick?
Yeah, for sure. I think it's definitely a year where it could go. I don't think anyone really knows how it's going to go, so it could go, kind of off the rails a little bit, and everyone's board is going to be drastically different. I think if you looked at every team's board on come Friday night. So yeah, it's exciting to have another top 10 pick and see how the day unfolds. We think we're gonna, we'll have the opportunity to get a really good player there, and yeah, it's kind of it's very intriguing to see who might be there at 9.
Just big picture wise, what's the trade market like right now? Obviously, trading a guy like William Eklund it sort of shakes things up, and you see a Brady Tkachuk move and some other players. What is it like out there right now? Is it hard if you're trying to buy because teams have a lot of salary cap space and there aren't really a lot of sellers out there?
I think there's a lot of movement. Probably like you said, the cap's going up. Teams have money to spend for the most part for the first time in a while, and on top of that, I think the free agent market is the free agent class this year might not excite a lot of people. So I think that's leading to, a lot of trades and people being open to try and improve their teams in different ways. So it's there's some good players out there, but prices are high for sure.
Thank you.
We got a few minutes here, so we'll take some final round of questions, starting with Marco.
Good morning, Mike. The fact that you were able to trade in now into the top 10, you have 2 top 10 picks, and you still have one lower in 27th, I believe. Is this as close as you can get to maybe having your cake and eating it too, knowing you have these options to where you can either take 2 great players at 2 and 9, or maybe trade those and get someone that's already established like that?
Yeah, it gives us some flexibility for sure, which we're excited about. Whenever you go into a draft weekend, if you can have the ability to move around and get players you like, and like you said, maybe that's even using some of that draft capital to trade for an established player. So we feel like we're in a good spot heading into Friday, and we'll kind of see how it all plays out.
Zach?
Hi, Mike. Zach Winters with Spartan Daily San Jose State. I wanted to quickly just thank you guys for letting us do this. And I wanted to ask you, going into like how we saw with the Eklund trade, I wanted to ask, was Eklund the only player, like main starter from the roster that was on the board for the trade, or were there any other potential players that were on the trade block for the trade going into the top 9th pick?
I guess that's a little bit of a tough question to answer. Like I said, I didn't go into this week or this off season looking to trade Eki. He was someone that Ottawa kind of zeroed in on and targeted as a player who could come in and help replace some of the production that they lost with Brady. So he was kind of a targeted guy for them.
For sure. Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem.
We'll finish up here with Max.
Yesterday, you mentioned that there's been a lot of calls. Did the calls pick up after you made the trade?
Yeah, there was lots more calls on 9. Yeah, and probably 2 more on 2. One that's real interesting. But yeah, it's picked up. I think teams are, curious to what our plan was to do with 9. So, we had a few teams reach out and express some interest in it and what we'd be looking for. Then, yeah, now that we have 9, I think a couple teams reached out on 2 again. So, yeah, all stuff for us to consider. And, we still have a couple days, like I said, to get our board right, and then see what see what the day brings as we go along here this week.
you mentioned that there was like 5 teams in on that, like seriously considering the number 2 pick. Would you say that number has stayed the same, grew, dropped a little bit because maybe one of those teams moved to more the 9th pick? Is there any other change there?
It's probably about the same, I would say.
And then last question is a bit of a more fun one. It's kind of funny. The Sharks 9th best odds to move up, get the second round pick. Now you get back into 9. How much flexibility can this give you when it comes to scouting a deep draft like this? Because you guys talk about the defense. You guys can take a defenseman at 2. You guys can take a defenseman at 9. You guys can move up further. How deep is this draft inside the top 10 from your perspective?
Yeah, it's a good group here at the top. Lots of different flavors and varieties depending on what you're looking for between all the D, and all the D are all different in their own ways, and they're good players, but they all bring different things. And then you get the 2 wingers at the top, and then you got a couple really good talented 2-way centers who look like they can play in the league for a long time. So it's definitely an interesting top 10 and lots of good players, and that's what's exciting about it. You don't know how it's going to fall, and we just think we're going to be able to get a good player at 9, so we're thankful for that.